Hello and welcome to How to Protect Yourself Online. I'm your host, Star, and this project is funded under a grant contract with the state of Tennessee. Thank you, Sweet Home, Tennessee. Now, we have a lot to cover, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and share my next page here with you, and we'll dive into the information. Now, in today's session, it's in regards protecting ourselves online. And this information is coming to us that I'm going to be providing you directly from the U.S. Security and Exchange Commission. So it's right off the .gov website. And the first thing we want to talk about when it comes to security, let's go to the gov.com and then we'll all right, that page is loading here. Give it one moment. Oh, it should be gov.org. Okay, let's do, let's see here, one moment. Let's do security.gov. All right, and here we are. So how to protect ourselves online. So we're gonna dive into this information in depth here, but as we do so, we're gonna cover each section one by one. So the first thing we really want to do when it comes to protecting ourselves online is to beef up our security. And really what that means is personal firewalls and security software packages, antivirus, anti-spam, spyware detection features. These are a must-have, particularly for those who engage in online financial transactions. Okay, so regardless of that, everybody needs to protect themselves, whether we're dealing with financial transactions or not. So in regards to firewall and security software packages, if you have a Windows or an iOS, those machines are already equipped with firewalls and security software packages. So I happen to be using a Windows 10 machine, and we can go into our Windows Defender. So if I type in Windows Defender, see how it starts finishing my search engine for me. Best matches Windows Defender Firewall and Windows Security. Okay. So when we're handling these applications in our machine, if we go to our Windows Defender with Firewall right here, and then we can click open, it's gonna load for us the Windows Firewall field. So here is where we can allow an app or a feature through Windows Defender Firewall. This is where if it's been blocked, you can come and indicate for it to be accessible, private. You can remove certain apps and features from the list here. I would proceed cautiously. So if you're not familiar with some of these apps, I would not remove anything, but things like Bonjour services and anything toolbar, those really could be removed from your Windows Defender, because again, those toolbars are essentially access to getting hacked, right? They're additional add-ons when we're installing other apps. But to managing your Windows and firewall, if we go back, you can come here and change your notification settings. And so here's where we can control our private network settings if we're blocking all incoming connections, or whether we're managing our public network settings. which allows us to block all incoming settings or turn off Windows Defender would not be recommended, of course. So by default, these are already turned on and set to notify us when Windows Defender Firewall blocks a new app, okay? So by default, this customization center in our Windows Defender Firewall, this is the default setting. Let's go back to our system and security window here. And this is where we can review our Defender goodness, and you can defragment here, but let's go back here and just research it for it. Just Defender. It'd help if I spelled it right. Okay, so Windows Defender here is what we need, because the shield, so we're defending other applications or apps. The machine is running a bit slow, it's lagging more like, so some other applications or updates might be running in the background. I do apologize. Let's try it again here. Let's try this route and right here. So Windows Security. And so this again comes with your Windows machine, Windows 10. Well, I've upgraded mine to Windows 11. So if you're seeing some differences, I am currently utilizing Windows 11, which I believe was released sometime in August. And was ready not long ago for the public to install for free. Anyhow, so back into our Windows security. This is where we can review our virus and threat protection. And this, again, we can run a quick scan. If you are running a full scan, this could take some time, right? A full scan. So be prepared. Well, you can still use your machine while you're running the full scan. You might encounter some lag, right? Some delays, but just keep in mind that option is here for us. This is where we can also come to our device security and make sure we have secure boot is on, preventing any malicious software from loading when your device starts up. So we need to make sure in our Windows security that everything has a green check mark, which means everything is secure and up to date, which means your software updates are applied and installed and your machine, you know, is in good standing when it comes to virus threats and protection. As you can see here, there's a green check mark for the current threats, which means there aren't any. There's 0 threats found. The virus and threat protection settings, once again, it has a green check mark, no action needed. If we need to manage our threats and protection setting, because we've been potentially, you know, hacked because somehow maybe the real-time protection was turned off. So you want to make sure the real-time is turned on. And this really helps with, you know, locating and stopping malware from installing or running on your computer. So you can turn off this setting for a short time before it turns back on automatically. So the real-time protection is by default turned on. And if you happen to have it off, it will kick back on automatically after a certain period of time, or a short period of time, I should say. Now, the cloud delivered protection, as you can see, this is turned on, and this you may not see on your end if you have not upgraded to Windows 11. As you can see right here, I'm looking at the settings for Windows 11. With Windows 11, the upgrade for the cloud Office 365 workstation is integrated, which means, you know, PC to PC can be communicated, you know, network sharing and whatnot. Anyways, moving forward to the security and threat protection. So essentially, we want to make sure that everything is turned on, okay? Now, if we go to our device performance health, we should be able to see the storage is good, battery life is good, the absence outburst is good, and Windows and time service is good. And so these are just tools available to you right off your machine. So these are not tools you have to install from anywhere. Your machine is already equipped with this tool. And you can also view your protection history. If there has been any potential threats in the past, you will see the threats and the actions taken. Currently, there is no action needed to be taken because thankfully none of that issue has encountered here. Will remain that way, hopefully. Anyhow, moving along. So you can do your own troubleshooting right off your machine, but that's diving into a different aspect because we're talking about protecting ourselves online. Okay, so first we want to make sure our machine virus and firewall threat protection is turned on and all the security updates are applied and are indeed up to date, meaning your machine. So that's beefing up your security. And if you're one who deals with financial transaction, it certainly would not be a bad idea to have an additional firewall like Norton, right? Again, because you're dealing with financial transactions, that would be presumed. Moving along, keep in mind that nowadays, when we talk about beefing up your security, we want to make sure you're using the latest security patches, right? We want to make sure that you're accessing your online brokerage account only on a secure web page using encryption. And we want to make sure the website address on a secure website connection starts with HTTPS. Don't just jump into the HTTP. So if we just jump in, for example, to this, see how it has the S. So the S represents hyper transfer protocol secure. So it's for secure, right? The transfer of a hyperlink network is secure. However, the website addresses that start with HTTPS, just like we see here, instead of just HTTP, and have a key lock. Let's go ahead and go to that later. So here's the key lock that I was mentioning. All right, here's the key lock. That's considered the padlock, which means it's locked, it's secure, the status bar. This typically, you might see it on the left hand, okay? Also, if you check the site, it might appear on the bottom corner of your screen. So let's talk about security tips when it comes to the padlock and when it comes to the HTTP versus the HTTPS. Even if a web page starts with an HTTPS, unfortunately, and even if it has the key lock like we see here, it is still possible that it may not be secure. So that means some phishers have ensured to spoof a website which appears to have a padlock. So what that means is we want to make sure that we double click on this lock here, and we can see that the connection is a secure connection, right? We can see that, and that we need to follow the security certificate, right? So following it and making sure who issued it, right? This will give us the name matching the site we should be on. If the name is different, then we are most likely on a spoofed site. So how do we make sure that, right? Here, connection is secure, okay. And then here is the security settings, but let's click on this, and this gives us the securitylater.com, and this gives us the connection is secure. And once again, here's that certificate that we mentioned. So that certificate said is valid, right? Issued by, in this case, the website, but why don't we choose the government website? That would be a better site to use. Okay, here's the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission website. And if we go to the log pad, we can see connection is secure. And here's the certificate, it's valid. But if we click on the certificate, we should be able to verify who issued it, right? Issued to the security.gov. So it's directly from the Security Exchange Commission. And we can click on the issuer statement. And so what that should load for us is the legality of that certificate, just making sure that it's a current legal documentation. Okay, so that's how we can verify that. If we go to the details, here's the more in-depth information as far as the validity in the certificate subject site. There is www.sec.gov. If we go to the certificate path, once again, here we are provided to the U.S. Security and Exchange Commission website. And we can see at the bottom that the certificate is okay. So if it's not, we would be notified, right? Or we would be informed, I should say. We would be informed of that. Okay, now, other things to keep in mind when it comes to security is token. Token is essentially a second layer of security. So if I go to my Gmail and try to sign in, it might ask for my code. Let's see if it will allow me to sign out of this. Sign out. And so not just with Gmail, but with really any account. So when you sign in, it should give us this. See how it opened, it sent authentication code, or more like a verification to my email to verify that it is me. So I just been sent an email to my phone letting me know that I'm trying to sign in. If it wasn't me, then that means somebody's hacked into my account. But as soon as I approve it on my phone, you should be able to see my account successfully sign in. So that's what it means to have that additional security. And so that's the security, the token, or some places will have a code which will cycle every 30 to 60 seconds. And so with that code, that means you type it in and you get into your website. Again, the code would be sent to your phone number, your smartphone. Now, other things we want to be careful about is, let's go to the goodness store. All right, here. Okay. Now, we should be I am taking us to the Microsoft Store here. So in the Microsoft Store, we want to be very careful what we download. When we download a program or a file from an unknown source, essentially you are risking fraudulent, often, hiding malicious softwares which load on your computer. So proceed cautiously. Keep an eye for any pop-ups, any advertisements, or download a free game or gadgets, that kind of stuff. Anything free essentially is going to come with some catch, right? Now, you also want to use your own computer if you can, to avoid being hacked or, you know, having your identity stolen, because we're talking about protecting ourselves online. Essentially, when I mention using your own computer, it's generally safer to access your online brokerage account. Again, we're talking about finances, you know, your bank, so it's safer to use the financial accounts from your own computer rather from, say, a public computer like a library. If you need to, you know, if you need to use a computer other than your own, that is. Now, be sure to delete all your temporary internet files. And what that really means is, let's dive into that. So here, once again, whether it's a free app, whether, you know, regardless of what it is, be careful when it comes to download it. But let's go ahead and share. I'm going to, let's see, what we're covering here is our temporary internet file. So let me load that up and I'll share that with you here. That's okay. All right. One moment. Let's go back to this page here. And so the internet temp files. All right, let's see if we can share this with you. Nope, okay, it's not gonna let me until I open it up. So to access your temporary files, you're gonna go to search, type in the percent symbol. So that's shift number 5, the word temp, like temperature, T-E-M-P, and close it with another percent symbol, and then hit enter. And that's gonna load for us the temp directory. In one moment, I will share that with you. Okay, so we are looking at the temp directory right now, and we're talking about protecting ourselves online and how do we clear the temporary internet files and all our history and from the computer files. So these are the local temp files. Anything that we access on the machine gets rewritten here in the temp directory. We can see that on this PC, Windows, the user, the username, app data, local temp. Or as I mentioned, the shortcut was to just go to Windows and type in percent temp percent and hit enter. And that will take us where we are right now. And so these are the temp files, right? There's quite a bit here. To select them all, you're going to do Control A, and it's going to highlight them all. Okay, so we can see that they're all highlighted. And really from here, once you highlight them all, you're going to hit delete. And I'm dumping 165 items to the recycling bin. And not all of them are going to be dumped because the machine is being utilized currently. So that makes sense, right? Not everything will be closed. So I just told it to skip this. I don't know why it's not doing it for the rest. And there we go, it's going to skip. So there, it deleted majority of them, but these files are currently being used because I am using the machine, which makes sense. Now, the next thing really is emails. Let's talk about that. Let me reshare the site here. Okay. When it comes to emails, let's go to our Gmail here. And okay, so we're looking at our Gmail, and essentially, I'm not showing the inbox. I suppose I can, nope, we're not. Well, let's see if we can sign into, no, let's just talk about the email. Okay, now email. When it comes to email, essentially best practice to protecting yourself online, you do not want to respond to email requesting personal information, okay? And you'll see this right on the website on how to protect yourself online of the Gov website. So legitimate entities will not ask you to provide or verify sensitive information through a non-secure means, such as an email. So if you have reasons to believe your financial institution actually does need your personal information from you, pick up the phone and call the company yourself. There's no better way to do it than verify yourself, because unfortunately, we just live in that time and age where it requires your actual verification. We just can't take everybody's word for it anymore. So using the number in your Rolodex and not the one in the email provides also can help. So even though a web address in an email may look legitimate, just as we mentioned earlier, fraudulents can mask the true destination. So rather than merely clicking on a link provided in an email, type the web address into your browser yourself, or use a bookmark you previously created so you don't get rerouted, and before you know it, you've been hacked or spammed. Now, passwords. It's really, really, really important for passwords. So I'm just simply Googling this because of there we go. For creating a password, right? So to have a secure password to prevent ourselves from future potential threats, right? And so to do that, we want to make sure that that our password is indeed strong. So strong and difficult to guess. And it would be wise to use password that it consists of combinations and numbers, letters, both upper and lowercase, punctuations, and special characters. Changing your password regularly would also be a great idea, particularly those accounts that financial transaction accounts. And certainly you never want to share your password with other people, especially replying to an email, because then you're just handing out your password to whomever, right? Then you should never store your password on your computer, because if you store on your computer and your computer get hacked, well, your password just got stolen, and so is your identity and everything else that is within that computer. So it's important, if you need to write down your password, that you store it somewhere privately and somewhere secure and somewhere where only you would know, right? But this is just a website as to what is required when it comes to passwords. So it's really best practice to always include the following in your passwords when resetting a password, or you can use nowadays the Edge password manager, so or Chrome. But if we go to the Edge, for instance, and I'm going to go to my account, let's say here, I'll share it with you in just a moment. Okay, now, yeah, I'm going to close that and go back just so I can show you the process. Now, let's see if it's the same with Chrome. Yep, there it is, passwords. So here is our Chrome password manager link. This is where we get to see all our passwords and anything that we need to change, or as far as managing them. And with the Edge, if you are using the Edge, you would just simply go to the Edge and then go to your profile here and go to manage profile settings. and this will load for you your privacy settings, all this information here. But if you look at your personal setting, within that is the passwords, and this is where we can manage them all. Okay, so that's that. Let's go back to the share screen here. All right, protecting ourselves online. Another thing is to use extra caution when it comes to wireless connection. So currently, I'm connected to a router, which I own, right? So I have two routers, they're connected, they're secure network locked. So with wireless connection, networks may not provide as much security as wired internet connections. In fact, many hotspots, wireless networks in public areas like airports, hotels, and restaurants reduce their security. So it's easier for individuals to access and use their wireless network services. So remember, unless you use security token, where if you're logging into your bank, then that site asks to send a code to your phone, it's best not to use that site at all till you are at home or somewhere secure, someone else's house or whatnot. You might decide to access your online brokerage, perhaps, like I mentioned, somewhere with a more secure network. That way you're not risking your finances. Now, another important factor is in when we log out. Majority of people I've encountered, they've simply just closed out the session just by hitting the X on the top right hand side. It's not necessarily the best practice when it comes to protecting ourselves online. So what we want to do in most situations is log out. So for example, here is my profile. I'm going to click on it. And if I go to sign out, that's precisely the best practice to signing in, signing out of your account. Okay, so that's that. Now, another factor to consider. So just a quick recap. These are the things that we've thus far discovered coming directly from the Gov website on how to protect ourselves online. We've covered up how to beef up your security tips, using your security token. Be careful what you download, using your own computer. Don't respond to emails. Be smart about your password, use caution with wireless hotspot network connection, and making sure that you log out completely off any sites that you've accessed. So that's that. Now, a couple other things to cover in regards to protecting ourselves online is avoid opening mail from strangers. So I've had so many people reach out to me because if you get a phishing email with a malware attached, you don't have to download the attachment for it to do your home network damage. So that means it's because your drive-by downloads can install malware on your hard drive without you even agreeing to download them. So again, avoid opening any email from anyone that you do not know. And avoid opening the junk mail altogether in your mailbox. There's no need to go to the junk spam folder. Spam different, but the junk is dedicated there particularly for that, for junk. So by accessing it, we're, providing access link to get more information to our inbox from those links. Another thing is to make sure your devices are up to date. I cannot express the importance of your security softwares and web browsers. These securities are important. And If they're not set up for automatic update, you need to ensure that they are. Updates often include critical fixes for any security holes that may have been, say, detected in your program or devices. Now, updates as far as on your machine, how do we make sure that our updates are automatic? Let's take a look at that. One moment while I share that screen with you here. Okay, one moment, and you should be looking at the Windows Security Update. So this is where you can make sure that your machine is up to date. Right now, we're looking at my profile here, but you can see I am up to date, and the last checked was today, this morning. That's why it was running so low. But you can check for update. I'm running a session. I'm certainly not going to do that right now, but this is where you can manage all that. You can manage your network and internet connection from here, your VPN for virtual private network connection, your hotspot. Once again, not recommended, especially if you're using financial accounts, your personalization, all that is here. But most importantly, your privacy, your security, all that is within your Windows profile settings, okay? So that's where we can make sure that it's up to date. We've talked about using a strong password and the importance of using that, and to avoid passwords like password 123. Let's share here another screen, one moment. Let's do, load back that. One moment while I share the screen with you here, please. All right, we don't really have much to share about. All right, we talked about passwords and avoiding 123, or reusing the same password over. Using a two-factor authentication, that's really, really recommended. And Google has it. A lot of sites are implementing that, all for security features. We talked about Norton and possibly buy in additional security firewall if you're dealing with financial transactions. But if we wanted to know what a two-factor authentication, here is a description or definition. It's a security system that requires two distinct forms of identification. So essentially a second layer of security to identify yourself and log into your accounts. But now that's that. And we've covered the importance of avoiding to click on strange looking links. So viruses and other forms of malware often spread because you click on a link from someone you know. So if you receive a link that looks strange, for instance, it might have typos, for example, though it might seem from a trusted, friend or family member, or a contact for that matter. If the link has typos, you might have to wait a bit to watch that funny viral video, but better safe than sorry. Just avoid clicking on the link, right? Also avoid using unsecured public Wi-Fi, which we mentioned, and avoiding the hotspot connection. And backing up your data regularly is important because sometimes things happen, right? Life happens. And if we happen to be hacked, how do we restore, or how do we back up our data and make sure we can restore our contents, right? So allow me to show you that in just a moment here. So the backing up depends on the devices you have and whether you're using an external device or cloud, like OneDrive, to upload your data, to back up your data and restore it in case of expected circumstances. Goodness. So let's see, backup. That's what we wanted to do. We wanted to go to our backup. And it's running fairly slow here, but I happen to have an external drive called, goodness, it's called Backup Now Easy. So it's an external hard drive. So if I open that, and allow me to share that with you in a moment here once it loads. And one other factor thing to keep in mind is that right off your settings, your privacy and security settings, we can run some diagnostic, okay? And if you happen to been hacked, so you can do troubleshooting right here. You can activate troubleshooting. You can see that you have the option for troubleshooting other problems. And here we get to see what other problems might be, whether it's internet connection, Windows updates, and so forth. But let's see if backup is here. Yep, there's our backup in sync. So whether you are using the cloud Windows, so OneDrive, to upload your data, or whether you're using an external drive, which is not going to run for me to share it for you right now because an update is required. But the option is there for you. This is where you can sync your folders. You can, well, run a backup, right, of your data and softwares and whatnot. That is our timer letting us know time is approaching here. But that is one way we can, or several ways we can go about protecting ourselves. So let's dive back into our PowerPoint here and close up for today. All right, I thank you for being here with me today. And just a friendly reminder, the local library, your local library, is offering free one-on-one sessions, your choice of topics, for the East Polk Public Library. The sessions are provided third Thursday of the month from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Their hours are Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Once again, it's been a delight. Thank you, and see you on the next session. Goodbye.